طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Any questions before we proceed? Any questions before we proceed?
على هذه الإطار النص يعني على وقت المحاضرات ما في ولا تحول اونلاين تكسبين انت
I didn't want this to be recorded, but you forced me to do that. Can you read it?
Yes.
This came from the director of the summer program. Does that answer your question?
Hello.
I think all the medical programs, all
كيف؟
students I think in MS. I think all students they request the same thing to.
Yes. They made it a policy now that we cannot do it. طيب. Okay, so inshallah what I will try to do today is let's go over what we have done yesterday, especially that there was a mistake in one of the sessions, and let us try to we'll put the answers as we go. Now you might have noticed that Blackboard is running now, sir?
Yeah.
And you have seen the lectures. So usually what I do is I keep 2 copies of the handouts. One of them is the ones that might not have solutions, and the other one is the ones that we have our notes. So that if you would like to see, the one that does not have the notes, and then you try to solve on your own before you see the answers, then that would be great. Okay. The nice thing about this is that once I save my notes, it will show on Blackboard immediately. Okay, if you have opened the Blackboard before, you might just need to refresh it. That's it. So I don't have to upload it, and you have to wait 2, 3, 4, 1 week for me to upload it. No, it will happen, inshallah. It will happen automatically. Okay. Right. So let's come back here. So we were talking about regular expressions, and we talked about ranges, right? And basically, for the first one, when we say capital A to capital Z, it will match any uppercase letter. So if you look at this line, how many matches do I have? I have 2 matches. So the first match is the capital D, and the second match is the capital B. طيب. When I say A through Z, small letter, it's a lowercase letter. Now, if I have this sentence, what will be my first match? The small y, صح?
Yes.
So let me, oops. Alaykum as-salam. So this is the first match. What is the second match? The E, صح? So this will be, the second match. This is the third. This is the fourth, the fifth. The space is skipped. The capital is skipped, صح? And then, so these are basically returned one by one. These are not returned as one answer, as one match, صح? So how many matches do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 matches. Okay? طيب. 0 to 9, it means it represents a single digit. So where is my first match in this line? Well, it's basically the one, and we actually don't have any other match. So we have only a single match, okay? We have only a single match. طيب.
Excuse me,
Yes,
regarding the number, if we have 1,000, it will be 4 matches. right?
it will be 4 matches. It will be the 1, the first match, and then 0, the second match, 0, the third match, 0, the
So
fourth match.
can we consider moving character by character and check
Say,
the mechanism?
say that again.
Now we have this condition 0 to 9. So we move character by character.
Exactly. You start from the beginning, and you check each character. Is it a digit from 0 to 9 or no? And if it is, it will be returned as a match. Okay? Fine. Okay. So now, who can remind us what does this caret do when it is in the beginning, when it is the first
Inside, you mean?
inside the square brackets?
Negotiate.
All except
It's basically the negation of or the complement of all the patterns inside that match, صح? All the patterns inside the parentheses. It's basically the complement, right? It's basically the complement. So when I say caret A to Z between square brackets, this means that it is not an uppercase letter, right? It is not an uppercase letter. Now, what will be matched in this pattern? It will start from E, and then G, E, R, space, صح? Space, O, R, space, right? And then STR is skipped, and then we have the I, the N, and the G. And I will let you, as an exercise, to check whether the carriage return is considered as one of the returned matches or not. ايش رايكم? Again, the questions. So we have G, صح? And then we have the end of the end of line character. Should it be returned or no?
You said it should be returned.
It should be returned because it is a non-capital letter, صح? It should be returned because it's a non-capital.
So for example, STR here, it should be returned, right?
No,
Because it is between them. Yes. Yes. But
it's the complement. So we should not return the S or the T or the R. Okay? طيب. Now, for this one, anything but a capital S or a small s, right? So basically, what will be returned here is like the double quotes, صح? The H, the E, the space, we'll skip the S, E, L, L, we'll skip the S, space, skip the S, E, A, space, and then skip the S, H, E, L, L, skip the S, and then we'll get the other double quotes. طيب.
And also the end of the line would be considered.
Say that again.
End of the line would be considered. It will be matched.
Wallahi, it should be. Maybe it's let's try to see if shall we go to that website and see what does it do?
at the end it will count it.
Huh?
At the end it will count.
I mean, it's something hidden. I don't know if it is.
No, I don't know if.
There is no
Now, where is it's regular. Expressions. I think this is the one, huh? Yes. Okay. So now let's do this. again, the problem is we should not take this also as a standard because you saw how it is different from Jarafsky's book. Okay, so let's do this. And then we have the caret. And let's say we have A to Z. Okay. And here, let's put integer or string. Okay. It took it, huh? The last match was actually the end of line. The last match was actually the end of line.
Is it those sides?
Hmm?
Is it those sides only or even both?
Say that again.
Is it the only website or the book as well?
Well, I think this is in accordance also with the definition of the book.
Okay, so we will count the end, it will be counted.
Yes, it will be.
Even if there is, in the end of the sentence, there is a dot or.
Well, of course, the dot will be there,
And the space
and
after.
the if there is an end of line, of course, and if I remove the end of line, يعني, so let's come here and let's delete. Are we gonna have? We're not gonna have anything, صح? فهي if you have a new line, if you have 2-3 lines, then it will catch also the end of line. Okay.
It is like an acceptance if there is another line.
Yes. Well, of course. يعني if there is no line, it means there is no new line characters, huh? Or they call it carriage return. طيب. Okay, so let's go back. Who can remind us now what does this mean?
Not having E,
Anything but
E or E.
a small e or a caret. Anything but a small e or a caret. So in that case, we will start, the first match is 7, صح? The first match is 7, space, I, S, space, L, and then we're going to skip the E, and then we will go to the S, S, space, T, H, A, N, space, 7. We're going to skip the caret, صح? And then we'll go to the 3. We will skip the E, right? So here, for example, let's assume that there are no new lines, and it's only a single line. Okay, let's assume that this is only a single line. طيب. What about the last one?
Match.
Matching the step.
It's a match. We have to match exactly A caret B, right? We have to match exactly A caret B. But as I said, in the website, it does not accept having caret alone. It requires it to have backslash caret. Okay, it requires it to have backslash. But let's do it according to the book's convention. So basically, what am I going to match? I will basically match. Now I'm not gonna put only one thing. I'm gonna match this whole thing, huh? This will be returned. Okay. Now I'm not gonna use arrows, right? Because the whole thing is actually matched. A caret B. واضح؟
Without any spaces, without anything.
ما في spaces ليش؟ ما في spaces. Okay. طيب. Okay. So we've done this. We talked about the pipe for disjunction, and basically this means it will match either what is to the left of the pipe or to the right of the pipe. So woodchuck, for example, will match this pattern. Yours will match this pattern. Mine will match this pattern, right? Now, when you have A pipe, B pipe C, well, this is exactly the same as the open brackets with ABC, right? Because it's basically one of them. And finally, we can actually combine those operators, right? So if you have, between brackets small g, capital G, and then groundhog, then it will match the two words, groundhog with a capital G, groundhog with a small g. Similarly here, it will match woodchuck with a capital W, woodchuck with a small w. So how many matches, possible matches, how distinct matches can I have for this pattern? I have 4. Okay? واضح يا شباب؟ طيب. Also, I changed this a little bit. So we talked about the question mark. Now, the question mark, what does it mean? Somebody remind us? The previous character is optional. We may have it, we may skip it, right? So this means that this pattern matches 2 words, color with a U, color without a U, right? Color and color. طيب. What about, so this is the question mark. Then we have the Kleene star and the Kleene plus, right, operators. Now, the Kleene star means 0 or more of the previous character. 0 or more of the previous character. So an example is, for example, if we look at this pattern, O star H, well, this will match, O H exclamation mark, double O H exclamation mark, and so on and so forth. Okay? If we use the plus, then we have to have at least 1, right? So O plus H exclamation mark will start with O exclamation mark or double O, triple O, and so on and so forth. All these are examples. Here, for example, this is similar to the previous one. Now, the last one is the dot, which is basically called a wildcard, right? Now, this one matches any single character except the carriage return. And why do I have a C here? Well, we can fix it. Okay. That's it. Okay. So what are the possibilities for this pattern? Well, begin, begun, began. This should be began. And of course, we can also have any other characters. Huh? We can have any other character. So let's, معلش, again, fix this very quickly so that I don't forget. Okay, I'll do it later. I'll separate them basically. Okay. طيب, who is going to remind us what do we mean by patterns are greedy?
It will continue matching till
We match basically the largest pattern. صح? So for example, when we have BAA plus and assume that the pattern that we have is B with 5 A's. Now, I could have matched B with 4 A's, huh? Or B with 3 A's, but still I have 5 A's. So what will be the first returned match? Well, it will be B with the 5 A's. Okay? It will be B with the 5 A's.
What's the accepted, the character accept CR? What do you mean by it?
Say that again.
Accept what? Sorry.
Except the carriage return, اللي هي new line.
New line.
Yes. Except the new line. Okay? Except. Yes.
Does the order matter?
Say that again.
Does the order matter?
You mean B coming before E and E, of course. يعني here the order matters as long as it's not part of a bigger expression. And we will see now the other expressions. Okay? But it's basically يعني it's a B followed by an E followed by a G in this case. Right? طيب ايش فرقها عن when I say something like B E G?
Any three characters.
Individual B or E will be.
This is a pattern that represents only one character, either a B or an E or a G. So it's like basically saying B or E or G, or B pipe E by pipe G. Okay?
So it's like a match. We find a match.
Say that again.
It will act like a match. It will match small b or small e or small g.
Yes, it's a pattern that matches a single character. Okay?
Only single character.
A single character. One of those three, right? But when I do this, then I'm matching how many characters? I'm matching B, E, G. I'm matching the three characters and they are coming in order. Okay? They are coming, and then followed by
Any character.
any character followed by N, right? Followed by any character followed by N.
So what if I want to match, for example, only either A or dash or Z? Only
E-
these three.
Who can answer him?
Including the dash.
So basically,
Dash is used for range.
so basically, this is our pattern. He says instead of any character, he wants either A or dash or Z, صح?
Yes. Not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing. It's either A or dash or Z. What should we do?
Square bracket.
طيب, so we will do B, E, G, square bracket, أيوة.
A.
A,
Dash.
Quite nine.
Backslash. Yeah.
backslash. When you do backslash, and then the hyphen, it will change the meaning. It will basically be a single dash.
Or change the
A, G, the sequence.
change the
Z dash
or-
A.
Let me just continue this, and then Z, and then N. So do you agree that this works? Huh?
So in that case, I will just defunction the range.
Exactly. So now this does not have the meaning, the range meaning. Okay? This does not have the range meaning because I used a backslash. خليني بس أشوف سؤاله.
نفس السؤال.
إيه نفس السؤال. طب خليه يسأله هو طيب.
لا انا لسه بقول change the order بالضبط. يعني
The order of what?
A
Oh, you mean we do something like Z,
yes
A,
dash.
without a backslash? It might give you a mistake because if you do this, it will expect to have something here. Because it's a range operator. It means a range. Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay. Because it means a range. صح? I think you still need to use this. Okay? طيب.
So is tab is considered one character? Tab.
Star,
Tab.
carat,
The tab.
Tab, tab.
the tab. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one character.
Yes. Backslash
So
T.
It's accepted for the last one. With the dot.
The last one, what do you mean by the last
The
one?
slide. The last one is accepted. The dot accepting one character, right?
Yes, the dot accepts
There is a
one.
tab.
So including a tab, yes. including a tab, a space, any character.
Usually tab is just 3 spaces, right?
It's considered as one character.
In the system it's considered.
خلاص.
But what we see is 3 spaces.
You don't worry about what you see. Tab will be returned.
Doctor, sorry for this question, but if I want to match also the backslash,
Backslash.
it will be backslash by to backslash.
Yes, we'll come to it actually.
Doctor,
Now,
the example before the end. What if I have BBAA? Will it be considered a match?
طيب. So your question is if you have here if you have BBAA صح?
Yeah.
Can anybody tell me what will be matched? Only this part.
So why am I accepting additional raise? The plus is only for the A.
The plus is only for the character that precedes it. Okay? The character that precedes it. واضح يا شباب؟ طيب. Okay. Now, what did we say about? Yeah, I think this is where we stopped last time, huh? So who can remind us what does this mean? When it comes in the beginning, it's the beginning of the line. So we are looking for matches, not anywhere in the line, but in the beginning of the line. And if we see the dollar sign at the end, then this means that we are looking for matches towards the end of the line. Okay? Towards the end of the line. Right. So now, if I have something like this, what will be matched in this text? Hmm?
P in the second line.
P in the second line. So from the first line, nothing will be accepted because it's not a capital letter, صح? It's not a capital letter. But from the second line, basically, this will be returned as a match, and this will be returned as a match, صح? No. ليش? Why not? Because it's not in the beginning of the line. Okay? Because once I specify the caret, this means that I'm looking in the beginning. So what does this mean? This means that I want to return all lines that start with a capital letter. All lines that start with a capital letter. طيب.
So the also was in the new line, it will return the A, right?
Say that again.
The last word was in the new line.
Which word? Huh?
Alto, the last word.
Alto?
Yeah.
It's in the same line.
Yeah, if it was in the new line.
No, if it was in the new line, then the A will also be returned. But here it is in the same line. So since it's not in the beginning, it will not be returned. تمام? طيب. Who can tell me in words, what does this refer to? Yalla, somebody I didn't hear today. Somebody I did not hear his voice today. ما تخلوني أختار. Go ahead.
It will match any character that is not a letter, or either a capital letter or a small letter. That comes at the beginning of the
That comes in the beginning. So anything will be matched from the first line? The one, صح? The one is going to be matched because it's not a small letter or a capital letter. طيب, with second line, the double quotes, right? With third line, nothing because it starts with capital letter. Very good. طيب. What about this?
First one.
And
I mean, retain the.
The dot at the end.
Yeah,
The dot
of the listen.
at the end of the line. Whenever there is a dot in the end of the line, it will be returned. So from these three, what will be returned? Only the first, this one, basically. Okay? this one will be returned.
We ignore the new line.
لا بس لانه ما في ضغط.
لا لاحظ
New
هنا.
line after the dot.
Since this is at the end of the line, then basically you are looking at the character before the new line. Okay? طيب, what about this? All of them.
الدوت وال
So basically, because this refers to any character, صح? This refers to any character. So this will be returned, the dot will be returned, the question mark will be returned, and the exclamation mark will be returned. Okay? طيب. Okay. So now let's assume that you have a certain text, and you would like to extract all the occurrences of the definite article the. Okay? طيب. So now, if I do this, if I say I'm going to search, I will put, slash, THE slash. Is that good enough?
Yes. All the mistakes.
No, why not?
About case.
Huh?
What about the upper
What about the upper case? What if the definite article was actually in the beginning of a sentence? So it will not be retrieved, right? So in that case, what we will do is we are going to miss the capitalized examples. So as a fix, what can we do? We can basically put the square brackets, small t, capital T, صح? Is this good enough? Okay, let me tell you. The answer is no.
Actually, you might have
What about the H capital and the E capital? No.
لا, احنا we're looking usually a definite article is not written such that H is capital will E is capital, صح? The only possibility is the first character to be capital. Yes.
Yeah, if it's part of a word.
If it's part of a word.
Is that like
If it's part of a word, like for example, other. OTHER. Now, if it OTHER, am I going to retrieve the THE from that word? The answer is yes.
So space before and space after?
Huh?
Space before and space after?
A space before and a space after.
How about the pipe?
A pipe?
The pipe disjoint.
Yeah, but the pipe is for selection. The pipe is for selection. طيب. What do you think will be close to the T, which will make a string that I don't want to catch?
Oh,
Any other letter?
anything
Anything?
except space.
any letter.
ولا any letter مثلا?
Any letter?
Any letter small or capital, صح? Any letter small or capital. طيب. So isn't it better to say that I want the complement of all small letters or capital letters?
Yes, I think so.
But what about the
Before and
بس بعد also after
Hmm?
and after
Like what?
before and after.
Yes. Yes, we need to put it before and. We need to put it before and after. And that's why we can actually do it this way. So we will say, caret, A to Z, capital A to capital Z. So we can match here anything but a letter. So I know for sure that these are not part of a word. These are not, this is not a substring of a bigger string. The THE is not a substring of a bigger string. By the way, there is another way of doing this. If you look at in your book, I think they use the \b. \b means boundary. Okay, so you can also put \b and then the T and the capital T, HE, and then \b.
Looks better.
Huh?
Looks better.
This one is better? Yeah. If it's up to you.
But it's more tricky now.
Huh? It's more pretty? طيب.
Because we use backslash to other purposes, like for operators, to make it characters.
I'd say that again.
No, it's okay. No, it becomes tricky because we use backslash for operators to change it to characters.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now
Well-
we change
well-
character to operator.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically by the context. If something has a specific meaning, and you put a backslash to it, then this means that you bring it back to its original. Sorry?
Doctor,
Yes.
what's defined as a boundary? What's accepted?
In fact, I don't know if we are going to see it here. Okay, so it's not in the slides, but basically boundary means like any white space, whether it's a space, whether it's a tab, whether it's a special character. All these are considered, boundary. End of line. Okay. طيب. Okay, so now the process that we just went through, whereby basically trying to find certain patterns to accept, a certain string or to reject a certain string. This brings us to two kinds of errors that are very important in natural language processing. The first one is matching strings that we should not have matched. Matching strings that we should not have matched. Just like, in the previous example, when we, for example, use this, right? Then this will match, other or theology. Right? So now, what do we call this error? Since this was returned, so it is positive, right?
Yes.
But is it correct or incorrect? It's incorrect, so we call it false positive. We call it false. The other type of error is if you wanted a string to be retrieved, but it was not. And what is an example in here? The first one, right? The first one will retrieve THE all small, but will neglect capital THE, right? So this capital THE was retrieved or was not retrieved? Was not retrieved, so it is negative, right? Is it correct or incorrect? So it's a false negative. So maybe this is a nice way to remember, what is or to differentiate between what is a false positive and what is a false negative. Okay? So positive is something that you retrieved but you don't want. Negative is something that you want but it was not retrieved. Okay? So the first type of errors are called type 1 errors, and the second type of errors are called type 2 errors. The first one is actually related to accuracy. Right? Is related to accuracy. So if you bring other words, your performance, your accuracy decreases, right?
Yes.
So that's why it's called it's a representation of accuracy. For the second one, it's a measure of what we call recall. Did we get all the ones that we want or no? Huh? This is called recall, right? And these two errors are kind of sometimes you try to fix this and something goes wrong on the second one, and vice versa. So they are kind of like competing errors, right? They're kind of competing errors. So in NLP, we are always dealing with these kinds of errors. So reducing the error rate for an application often involves two antagonistic efforts. Usually antagonistic يعني متضادين تقريبا يعني جايين عكس بعض. Okay? So increasing accuracy or precision, which means that we would like to minimize false positives, right? We would like to minimize false positives. And on the other hand, if I want to increase coverage or increase recall, then I need to decrease the false negatives. Okay? And many times, again, trying to fix one might affect negatively the other one. طيب. Okay, so now we already covered the first three, the Kleene star, the Kleene plus, and the question mark. Now let's come to specifying a specific count. So basically, when you put n between curly braces, it means n occurrences of the previous character or expression. N occurrences of previous character or expression. Right. What about if you put n comma m? Well, it means from n to m occurrences of the previous character or expression, and n should be less than or equal to m. It should be actually less than m. Because if it is equal, then it's the same as the previous one.
N is a number, صح?
N is the number. Okay? طيب, what if you have n comma and then the curly bracket, the closing curly bracket? Well, this means that you have at least n occurrences. Okay? So at least n occurrences of the previous character or expression. And finally, if you have open curly bracket and then comma m, this means at most, right? At most m occurrences of the previous character or expression. So we use them, when we apply them to the previous character, or we apply them to the previous expression. Now this brings us to the concept of precedence. So now we have too many operators, right? Which operator, has higher precedence over the other operator? And let me give you an example. So when we talked about, let's say, baby, pipe, child. Now, what does this mean? What are the two possible interpretations of this? Baby or child. This is the first interpretation. Type. Second interpretation.
Oh, child only.
Well, the second interpretation is right or wrong? I mean, I can consider the pipe only applying to what? Only applying to the first character to the left and the first character to the right. So in that case, the only the two strings that match this expression, at least this expression. This is, by the way, a correct expression. Huh? This is a correct expression. What does it match? Well, it matches the BAB, YHILD, and BAB, CHILD. So these are totally different from the first interpretations. Huh? These are totally different from the first interpretation. So that's why, as far as the precedence is concerned, well, this is the highest, and this is the lowest. So the pipe has lower precedence than the sequences. This is a sequence, huh? This is a sequence. This has a lower precedence. So this means that we are going to take this whole thing, or so basically, what does that mean? Well, this means baby or child. Okay, baby or child. The highest precedence is parentheses. Okay, so whenever you want anything to be in the pattern, basically use the parentheses. After the parentheses, in power, you have the counters. ايش هم الكاونترز؟ اللي هم cleany star, cleany plus, the question mark. This question mark is remind me for what? Optional, صح? And then the counter. And then the counter. So these come after they have precedence, lower than the precedence of the parentheses. And on the third, I have basically sequences and anchors. Anchors like الكارت والدولار sign. Okay? الكارت والدولار sign, these are at the same level. Okay? And finally, of course, we have the pipe or the disjunction. We have the pipe.
The second expression that you write it for baby child, won't it return the both words?
Would it return what?
When we put in the second expression,
Mm. You mean this one?
Yeah.
طيب.
Return the both words, baby and child.
No, it will return either BAB, it will return either BAB and then one of them. So it will return BA, BY, HILD or BA, BC, HILD. Because this means one of them, صح? Anything between square brackets without a caret means basically one character, represents one character from the characters between the brackets.
But it will return HILD in both.
It will return HILD, it will return BAB.
Yes.
In both of them, BAB is there, HILD is there. One of them, between them has a C, and the other one between them has a Y. Okay. Now,
Now, which one is the correct interpretation for the baby disjoint child?
well, according to the precedence, which one do you think?
The left one?
The top or the bottom?
The baby or child? The top.
The tops, huh? Yes, because this one has the least. So these character will beat this. So basically, baby pipe child is equivalent to baby child. They are exactly the same. We don't need to put the brackets or the parentheses.
And can you place the parenthesis inside square brackets?
No, square brackets هلا صار it's something different, huh? When you put square brackets, this means you are selecting between. It represents basically one character.
But it's considered with the sequence and anchor, the precedence.
A character.
Character.
Yeah. Even if you have A to Z, capital A to capital Z, 52 characters, but it stands for, in the pattern, it stands for one character.
And the precedence, it comes under the sequence and anchors, right?
عيد مرة ثانية.
And if we have it in a larger expression,
إيش هي؟
this parenthesis with anything inside it, it should follow the sequence and anchor in this hierarchy or in this levels. It should be, because it will return at the end the sequence.
Yes, because we can do something like this, huh?
Yeah, this will return it.
Yeah. So the star will not apply to the square brackets, huh? The star will not apply to the square brackets. So you're right. So basically, the square brackets lie here. Hamkumullah. Okay. طيب. So these are, these are aliases for common sets of characters. Backslash small d is any digit. Backslash capital D is any non-digit, right? Backslash W is, if you want to remember it, is like any word. Now, words consist of small letters, capital letters, just add the underscore. Okay, just add the underscore. So capital backslash small w, any alphanumeric or underscore character.
يعني حتى النمبرز.
Hmm?
حتى النمبرز.
حتى ايش؟
النمبرز.
Alphanumeric, yes. هيها 0 to 9. Oh, I didn't mention them? Yes, even digits. So small letter, capital letter, digits, and the underscore. Yes, my mistake. Digits are also included. Okay? طيب. Backslash capital W, none words, which is basically the complement of this. Okay. I don't know how to. طيب. Just put it on. Okay, so we talked about the small w, backslash capital W. طيب, and then we have backslash S. Small s is basically a white space, like a space or a tab. And I think backslash n is the new line character. Backslash f, if I'm not mistaken, this is like the form feed. I don't know if you have seen it, but I'll make sure what is the backslash f. But I think it's a form feed. A form feed is basically when you skip, it's just like you have a horizontal tab. When you skip more than one character in one shot, you can also skip more than one line in one shot. I think this is what the backslash f.
How do you use it? We will only use backslash D or backslash capital T, that's it, without the expression, or we will write it as a...
No, I mean, if you use backslash s, it basically refers to any one of those. Any one of them. هيها مش between square brackets. Any one of them. And if you say backslash capital S, then the complement of these. Anything other than the spaces. طيب. Okay, now these are some of the characters that need to be backslashed, like backslash star, if I want to include star, if I'm searching for star in my text. صح? Backslash dot. Backslash question mark, backslash n, backslash t, most probably also backslash the hyphen. I don't know why it was not included here, because hyphen has a special meaning, especially if we are doing it inside a square bracket.
And even the plus should have.
I would say so. I would say so. In fact, we saw in the website, caret was not accepted alone. We had to use backslash caret because caret has a meaning. So, the funny thing is the dollar sign. In just a minute, we will see that the dollar sign, when it does not come in the end, it has a different function. Yes.
In your time backslash s isn't it the same as backslash b?
Oh, backslash s. is it the same as backslash B?
Backslash B is similar to W, but without digit.
والله it could be. It could be, but I will check. It could be. إنه الباكسلاش S is the same as backslash B or not. I'll get back to you on this إن شاء الله. Okay. طيب. Okay. طيب substitutions. اسألوني.
They say that should be double slash double B is should be the backslash
B.
B is backslash double. It's the same.
Backslash B is backslash W.
They
وين هالباكسلاش W؟ Backslash you mean capital W?
Capital W, yes. Because once we use this in the TH here, we said we can use the backslash B. Well, it is similar to the backslash W.
Yeah, يعني yeah, I think what you mean is the backslash capital W, صح? Yeah, backslash capital W is basically a non-alpha numeric. Well, see, the non-alpha numeric does not include you cannot consider them as spaces, صح? يعني you cannot consider them as a white space. And the reason for that is that they might include, like for example, if we are using the Unicode, well, even if we are using the ASCII, there are so many different characters that are in backslash capital W. Like for example, some of the symbols. Now these symbols, you cannot claim that these are white spaces. Huh? But backslash S, لا. Backslash S, it's basically white spaces. So it does not include, special symbols. For example, I know in ASCII, the seventh character is actually a bell, a sound. So it will be part of backslash capital W, but it's not part of backslash small s. Okay? طيب. Now, assume that I have a text and I would like to substitute certain patterns in that text. Well, Unix and Python provide a very nice method, which is basically the use of, S, and then you put a slash, and then you put the first regular expression, S, slash, the first regular expression, and then slash pattern, and then slash. So what does that do? Well, it will match the regular expression, and for each match of the regular expression, that match will be replaced with the pattern. That match will be replaced with the pattern. So for example, when you say S slash color with a U slash color without a U, every occurrence of COLOUR will be replaced with COLOR. COLOR. This is a very, powerful. It's a very powerful way, a very powerful tool, right? For example, say we want to put angles around all numbers. So whenever you have a number like this, you want to surround it by two angles. Now, how can you do that? Well, first of all, how can we capture numbers? Well, numbers is basically any digit between 0 and 9, صح? With a plus, because we have to have at least one digit, right? We have to have at least one digit. طيب. So now, you will take this. So this is your regular expression, right? This is your regular expression. You want to replace it with this and your matched regular expression followed by that. How do you do that? Well, in Linux, in Unix or in Python, when you put anything between brackets like this, it's basically considered as something which is stored in a register. So in your pattern, let's say you have, one bracket, some things, and then another bracket. Well, this means that this is stored in the first register, this is stored in the second register, and in the second argument, you can refer to this with, \1, \2, \3, etc. Okay? So if you do s/, and then you put, 0 to 9 plus between parentheses, and then you say /. Now, what do you want to add? You want to add the less than sign, followed by this pattern, which is the \1, what is in the first register, followed by the closing or the greater than sign.
In case if I have only one term.
In this case, I have one term. If you have two terms, then you can have \1, \2.
Yeah, but in that case, I have to put these brackets. But in this case, I can avoid it.
No. In this case, you have to put the brackets.
So \1.
\1 will not work unless there are brackets in the first expression. مش brackets أنا قصدي parentheses. Parentheses. Okay? طيب. So, for example, if you look at this, the, and then between brackets, dot, star. And then ER, they, between brackets, dot, star. Okay? Now, so since this is inside the, these are inside two brackets, this is basically referred to as, \1, and this is referred to as \2. So now I can refer to them later on here. So the \1, notice here, there is no space between the 1 and the E. We \2 and then a slash. So this one is even is not a substitution, صح? This is just a pattern. So you can use these registers in order to repeat, some of the previous patterns in a very nice way. So now, do you see that, this pattern matches the faster they ran, the faster we ran? The faster they ran. So this was assigned ish fast, in this, and this is assigned ran. So the faster they ran, the \1 faster we ran. But not the faster they ran, the faster we ate, صح? \2 refers to what I have found here. طيب, it could happen that you need the brackets to specify a pattern or an expression. but you don't want to use it. What can you do in this case? Well, in that case, you use, before you start putting the pattern, you use a question mark and a comma. So this is basically called, if we want non-capturing groups. So this is called a captured group. Why it is a captured group? Because this has been captured by \1. This has been captured by \2. This one, this is not captured. So this is equivalent to what? Well, this is equivalent to basically some or a few. That's it. So I will choose one of them. صح؟ طيب. People, cats. Is this captured or non-captured?
Captured.
This is captured because I don't have a question mark and a column. So if I want to refer this later, how can I refer to it? \1. Okay. So this people or cats like some \1. Now this matches some cats like some cats. صح?
But why would we store it if we don't want to?
Why what?
Why do we store it if we don't want to assign?
We did not store it. Hayham.
Why do we put the parentheses when we don't want to? And why didn't we just like?
Oh, if you. Oh, okay, that's a good question. So what happens if you don't put parentheses here? ترى الأور هذا البايب has lower precedence فهذا السبيس وكل شيء راح يجي عليه. So when we put the parentheses, so this means that this pipe will only apply to some or a few بس. Okay? طيب. Does this pattern match a few people like some cats?
Yes. No.
Yes.
Few people.
No. لأنه a few people like some people. It should be people, صح? Because we have used people. We have seen people. Okay? Because we have seen people. So this matches some cats like some cats, but not some cats like some, صح? Because some is not there.
So what is that slash at the beginning and end?
Oh, this is basically indicates that we are writing a regular expression.
So we have always to wait.
Yeah.
when we write it.
Yes. So it's always written between two forward slashes. طيب, the last thing that we will do today, and then maybe we will do an activity or semi-quiz, not semi-quiz, but it will be activity, inshallah, in the beginning of next lecture. Don't be late tomorrow, okay? طيب, finally, we have look-ahead assertions. What's the story behind look-ahead assertions? Well, if you are searching for a specific thing in the pattern, you don't want to specify it in such a way that you are moving with the pattern. When I say, for example, square bracket ABC, and then after that DEF, then what does that do? Well, it will say this is either A or B or C,
Yes.
and then followed by a D, E, F. I will be moving along the text when I'm doing it. Look-ahead assertions will check the string or the regular expression, but will not do anything. It will just return true or false. It will just return true or false. So and how can you do that? By specifying the question mark and the equal sign. So the question mark, equal sign, and then pattern is true if pattern matches but is zero width, does not advance the character pointer. What does that mean? For example, let's assume that I am writing the following. I'm writing question mark, equal, and then I'm gonna say, dot, star, A to Z. No, I'm not done yet. A to Z and basically whatever. Now, who can tell me what does that do? What does that specify? To be true or false?
Anything than a letter, small letter.
So basically it specifies that if I have a sequence of characters, that a sequence of 0 or more characters that are followed by
Small letter.
a single small letter. صح? A single small letter. So if you have this and then you put your pattern here after the bracket, this will if that pattern contains a single small letter, this will be true, and it will proceed. If not, it will say no, this does not match my pattern. Okay, this does not match my pattern. Right. The other one is the question mark, exclamation mark. The question mark, exclamation mark is true if the pattern does not match. If the pattern does not match. For example, how to match at the beginning of a line any single word that does not start with the word volcano. Any single word that does not start with the word volcano. So how do we do that? Well, first, since we are talking about the beginning of the line, what do we have? We have the caret, صح? So this is the beginning of the line, and then followed by I don't want volcano, صح? And here is my regular expression, which is a sequence of letters, small or capital. صح? So if the line starts with the word volcano, it will not be returned. If it starts with a word other than volcano, then it will be returned. And what will be returned? اللي هي that word, right? يعني anything that matches, a sequence of small or capital letters. Yes.
So if the line doesn't contain volcano, it will match every word in that line.
It will match the first word,
Only the first.
the beginning. وهي الباترن ما في بالآخر سبيس صح؟ يعني حاطط capital A to capital Z, small a to small z plus. Okay?
So we can use it as an if-else if in the regular expression. So we can treat it as if-else if.
Yes, يعني basically what you're treating is you will consider the pattern if the assertion is true.
We can have multiple ones in it.
If the assertion is true, then you will get a match. If the assertion is false, you will not get a match. Okay, you will not get a match.
But
Okay.
if something before it will be returned, like if we have the expression, then this false or true, then expression.
That's in the beginning.
No, but that's not in the beginning.
No, I mean in general, we can use it in the middle of.
Yeah, you can use it anywhere. You can use this anywhere. Okay, you can use this anywhere. طيب, so we will take the. Okay, so maybe we will start with the review, inshallah, tomorrow, and then I'll give you some things to do during the class. Okay. عيد مرة ثانية.